Oh, I see.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Is this yours?
Yes.
Is that your new cell phone?
Yes, this is mine. Hello.
Who is it?
Hello.
Couldn't mess up all the recording devices.
Right. Let them block.
Very
I
intrusive.
got your back, Francis. I got your back, bro. Absolutely.
All right.
Well, no.
Right in your face. It's like somebody just so loud under the microphone.
Tuesday.
Liam was doing Facebook?
Yeah. Just so every single time.
But then pretend like
Every
it wasn't
time.
actually.
Yeah. And then I just still think that would be so funny.
I think it was funny too.
Doors opens nationally November 22nd. Today there's no photography, there's no video, there's no autographs. And then we're also going to ask you to stay seated when we're done so we can get the talent out of the room. So really quickly, can we do a voice ID for everyone just to help you transcribe? Starting in the back with Jeffrey, you can just say your name and your character name.
Jeffrey Wright. BT.
Sam Claflin, alcoholic. Sorry, Finnick.
Woody Harrelson, Hamish.
Lenny Kravitz, Sinner.
Nina Jacobson. Nina Jacobson.
Jenna Malone, Joanna Mason.
Francis Lawrence, director.
Elizabeth Banks, Effie Trinket.
Liam Hemsworth, Gail.
Josh Hutcherson, Peter.
Jennifer Lawrence, Katniss.
Donald Sutherland, President Snow.
Let's start right away with James right here.
Thank you very kindly. Fans have found these books and these films and the collective story they tell for a variety of reasons, whether it's personal relationships or enjoying the political allegory or just enjoying the action. Would any member of the cast and their crew like to say succinctly what they most enjoy about this series of stories and films?
Oh, how do we decide who to answer?
I guess it's a no.
Is it?
Jennifer?
It's me.
Yeah,
I know.
it's you.
I'm just kidding. I would love to tell you what I love about these movies. I think that it's. I was personally very excited when I first started reading these books. Just that there was such a big series that young adults would be reading, and something that was actually very important. I think that it's a wonderful message to show just how powerful one voice can be. It's very easy as a society for us to just kind of follow the feet in front of us, and history does kind of repeat itself. And I think that it's an important message for our younger generation to see how important they are into shaping our society and our future.
Thank you, Fred.
Was it?
Can I just say one thing? I think it, for me, it was essential for me personally that I somehow find my way to become a part of this, because it more clearly represents the dangers of an oligarchy of the privileged than anything I've seen for a long, long time.
Also, badass female protagonist.
I'm talking about Effie.
Hi, my question's for Francis. Last year we all met Gary Ross directing the first Hunger Games. You took over for this film and also signed on for the next two. So what consistencies are we going to notice between Catching Fire and the Mockingjay movies?
Between Catching Fire and the Mockingjay movies? Well, I think one of the things that I wanted to make sure of was that there was still an aesthetic unity to all of the movies. And I thought Gary did an amazing job with the world building in the Hunger Games, and so we worked with the same production designer to make sure that the Capitol still was built from the same architecture, that District 12 still had the same, almost 1930s Appalachia feel. And we're going to do the same with Mockingjay. And the fun thing about Mockingjay, though, is that we actually get to see a bunch of new districts. We get to see the Capitol in a very new way. We'll actually be down and sort of in the middle of the streets of the Capitol, which will be fantastic. But we worked with the production design team to make sure there was an aesthetic unity all the way through.
This question goes to Nina and to Francis. Nina, last year we talked at great length about the tonal bandwidth in creating the world of the Hunger Games and finding the collaborative tone between the visuals and the emotional aspects of the film. You have new voices with Simon Beaufoy as your screenwriter and Francis as a director. So what were some of the considerations to maintain a continuity of tonal bandwidth with the emotion and the visuals while allowing these new voices to spring forth?
Well, I think the heart of these movies is Katniss's point of view, and as long as you remain sort of firmly in her shoes, I think that's what will always give you the consistency throughout, because as a character, she is a complex character. She changes, but she sort of grounds us, I think, throughout the series. But I think this movie opened up a lot of new opportunities for us because we spent so much more time in the Capitol, and we have an arena which is itself the opponent, as opposed to the characters being each other's opponents. And so, with Francis, I think he was able to expand the world enormously while still staying very true to what was that character-based, emotionally honest approach that the first movie took.
Hi, this is for Jeffrey and for Lenny. Would you both talk about the attraction of doing this movie? And for Jeffrey, you're now part of this franchise, so talk about your impression of the first movie, and talk about, would you both describe what you like about your characters and what you don't like about your characters?
Wow.
Lenny, you want to take it?
Where do we begin? What was the first question?
The first question was the attraction of doing, what attracted you to do the movie, and then talk about your character.
Well, first of all, the story, it's great storytelling. You can have all of these great actors and actresses and directors and people, but at the end of the day, it was a really well-written story with really good characters. And I didn't know anything about Hunger Games before I got the call from Gary Ross. I didn't know about it. I was in the Bahamas working on music and in the jungle somewhere, and I got this phone call about Hunger Games, and I had to download it and read it. And once I read it, I was hooked. I read the whole book in one night, and my character Cinna, he works for the Capitol, obviously. He's quiet. He does his job, but he has an instant attraction to Katniss. He understands who she is. He believes in her abilities, and he wants to be there for her. And they begin this friendship. In this film, he's even more quiet, but he's at the point now where he's ready to make a statement to really show who he is and what side he's on, and he does that very strongly when he presents the wedding dress that President Snow wants Katniss to wear. You've all seen it. The dress turns into the Mockingjay, and he has to face some grave consequences for that. But I like that he speaks through his art. Jeffrey?
Thank you, Lenny. I was using that to collect my thoughts. I had to bide some time, so thank you for that assistance. Well, one of the things, aside from the thematics of the storytelling that attracted me to this, was that there had already been this extraordinary work done by many of the folks who were assembled here. So I had an opportunity then to kind of piggyback on their efforts. I like Lenny. I was maybe in a jungle in West Africa somewhere, so in Sierra Leone. So I missed out on a lot of the fanfare around the first one. But when I was called, in my case, by Francis to be a part of this, I dug in and I realized that there was something very interesting happening here, particularly, as Jennifer said, for younger audiences, because, this is epic, movie making of a scale that we see a lot of now. But at the same time, there are these poignant, relevant ideas that are being presented to young minds, young developing minds that I think are really essential. And they're not specific, but they just are presented in an intelligent way that allows each reader or each audience member to place themselves within the world and make these considerations that are relevant to their lives outside of the theater. And I think, for me, that's what it just seems to make sense, that you entertain, but at the same time, you provide, in some ways, a kind of escapism, but a kind of relevant escapism that doesn't discount the complexities of, who we are and what our world is undergoing now. So,
Elizabeth and Jennifer, could talk about how strong it is and how good it is to have strong female character leads. How great is that for you? And to talk about what's your feelings on having a Lionsgate today announcing the Hunger Games being a theme park. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't know.
Oh, you're running a theme park now. You didn't know?
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, you're
and
a ride.
Very fitting. I feel more prepared for that than this. Better equipped. Elizabeth, I'll let you take the...
Well, I don't know why you would do that. Well, Jennifer is an amazing actress who gets amazing roles, and I wish that she gets them always and forever for the rest of her life. I've been doing it a little longer, and I know there's a lot of girlfriends out there, roles, and a lot of wives, and a lot of supporting roles that are less interesting than Katniss. I hope for her that she gets to play Katniss-level roles forever and ever. They're rare, and I think this movie, Gravity, I'm so excited to be seeing such amazing, strong female role models in the movies for the 50% of moviegoers who are ladies.
Thanks. That's why I let you go first. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I'm Lynn. Hi. Sam and Jenna, you're new to the franchise, and I love both your characters. And what do you love about them the most? And is there something about each one that you really identify with?
Ladies first.
I think I loved every single thing about Joanna Mason. When I read the novels in 48 hours because I had my wisdom teeth out, and I just laid in bed and ate a lot of ice cream and just poured through them and was just sobbing at the end and was just so emotionally invested. I think for me, beyond just the seed of the novels and the amazing cast and an incredible director and the fact that this kind of book was so well received within a young audience was that they were hungry for it, and that it's a sort of a symbiotic relationship. Is like you can't create a good idea without someone wanting to receive that good idea. And I feel like it's a really incredible thing to know that, this new generation is hungry for a different type of sense of identity. They're looking for something else in stories that are being sold to them. And, they don't want it sugar-coated anymore. And what I thought was so amazing about Joanna Mason is that she kind of represented a lot of that in the sense that she doesn't sugarcoat. And she is hardcore and truthful and violent and angry. And all of those things are also just about... they're not just cool aspects of her. There's nothing, I don't really think that that's like a badass thing. I think it's actually a survival technique, and I think that's a really interesting thing to talk about for young women, to understand that they can take on tools and personality traits that may not be their own, but they can use them in forms of survival to be able to sort of elevate themselves in the world, which I think is pretty cool.
Ben,
so I have to say I was slightly intimidated entering into this world that had been created very, very strongly by, my fellow castmates, especially approaching a character like Finnick that is described as some kind of god, I suppose. I mean, to sort of approach a character like that, it was quite tough, to say the very least. I had to go through some huge physical transformations, a shaven chest. It was very, very intimidating, but I kind of embraced the challenge, I think, and worked as hard as I could. That's all you can do. And as much as there was, a fair bit of negativity when I was cast initially, I think now a few people have been turned, and my goal is to obviously turn the world, and that's what Finnick's goal is as well, I guess. So I guess I have that in common with him, so yeah.
Hey,
Sorry, I didn't answer your multi-part question about what I liked about my character. I like that BT is an idea man who's resistant to the status quo.
Josh and Jennifer, Ben Kaiser from Movie Guide. What do you feel, what kind of moral lessons do you feel young boys and girls can learn from your characters? And do you feel that's an important thing for young adult fiction?
I think that we have this society that, you know, we unfortunately experience in our lives where people feel entitled to certain things and they have this certain, you know, I think that we've been completely desensitized in our shock factor, and the media continues to feed you what you want. And this is kind of an example of what happens when you keep allowing that to happen, when you keep feeling entitled to things that you're just simply not. And I think that and at the end of the first movie with us and the Berries, no, they don't need a victor. We don't need to play in this game. Is a wonderful example for young adults that you don't have to follow the feet in front of you, that you, even though you can seem like the only one, even just one voice standing up for something that's wrong can keep us from going into a totalitarian government.
I think that with today, with our generation and my younger brother's kind of younger generation coming up too, they're surrounded by so much in-your-face truth from around the world, like about issues that are happening and whatnot, and they're also told all the time about how they're supposed to be by the media and how they're, you know, what kind of people they need to be or how they need to look or dress. And I think this movie just sort of shows that you can go against the flow of things. I think for me that's the most important thing, because that's what I did when I was a kid in Kentucky, is I went against the flow of things and went for what I wanted to do in life. And I'm here talking to you guys, so it's pretty cool, I think.
For Jennifer, Josh, and Liam, we see in the film how Katniss is sort of discovering the voice that she's been given through her notoriety and her ability to inspire and affect change. You guys are getting a voice now. You have an ability to reach people through your work, through just your celebrity. What do you hope you can accomplish with that platform that you're kind of developing right now?
You know, it kind of changes sometimes. There are so many wonderful things that can come from this. When you have a voice saying the right things, and you know, it's so easy for us to. A simple one is it's so easy to raise money for charity. You know, it takes me 10 minutes to sign 100 posters that can raise thousands of dollars for charity, and that's so simple. And also, wait, I had a really good answer and I can't remember.
I don't know.
God, what were you saying? What can we
do with it?
I think that no, because honestly, sometimes it surprises me. I remember being on the first movie, and when you're an actor, you don't ever think, or I hope that you don't, I don't ever think, like, my job is very important. What I do is very important for the world and for people. You know, I just love doing it. And I remember being on the first movie, and there was a girl who was an extra, and she was covered in scars. She had been burned. And I remember her coming up to me and saying that she was too self-conscious to go to school when she was younger, and then when she read The Hunger Games and Catching Fire, she felt proud of her scars, and her friends called her the girl on fire, and I remember just crying and calling my mom, and I still can't really tell the story without tearing up. And I remember just calling my mom and being like, I kind of get it. And I remember reading that in the third book when she goes to the hospital, and sometimes it can seem so pointless because you're so filled with like hair and makeup and clothes, and then sometimes just the lives that you can touch without even meaning to. So I don't really have any plans. Sometimes it comes up and bites me in the ass, and it's great. And I like doing it that way.
I think we're given a unique opportunity to have a voice and, you know, to spread awareness to a particular issue that might be important. I think, you know, regardless of whether people want to listen to us or not, we're given a platform to talk on. And I think if you know, who we are, if we use that platform, you know, to do a small bit of good, you know, do the little bit that we can do and then spread awareness to something important, I think it's a unique opportunity to have.
Hello, Melissa Molina, Screen Crave. This question goes to Mr. Hutcherson and Hemsworth. I'm sorry, I like being more formal when it comes to things like this. I wanted to talk about the personality evolution of Peeta and Gale throughout Catching Fire, because we see how they are in the first movie, and then as Katniss gets closer to Peeta, for instance, you know, we see more of like, you know, he's affected by what happened in the previous movie too, and then what Gale's going through because of the revolution that's starting to build up. And can you talk about just the developing the characters more, and if you got any of that from the source material?
Yeah, I think there's a lot in the source material. I mean, it's nice when you have a whole book and then you have to whittle it down to a movie, because as an actor you get a lot more kind of information about your characters, I think. Yeah, for me, I think that Peeta, he's more angry in this movie. Like he's got like that. In the first movie he was like the baker that painted, and now in this one he's a baker that paints, but he also like has a little bit like an edge to him. I feel like he's angry about having to go back into the games. He's angry about, you know, how Katniss has been with him and kind of feeling like he's been led on, and up until that moment where they are in the train together and they have like the coming together of friends kind of thing. I think that he feels really sort of disappointed with the whole situation, obviously, as one would in the Hunger Games. But yeah, I think that this movie just expands a lot on the different relationships. I think that you see a lot more of the dynamic with Katniss and Peeta and how they're affected by the games and how they're affected by the whole world they live in. And then the same, I think, goes for the relationship with those two. You can talk. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's when Katniss comes back from the games, Gale is obviously seeing this post-traumatic stress that she's dealing with, and you know, he's obviously watched her fall in love with someone else, and he cares deeply about her. But I think, you know, as angry and as frustrated as Gale is watching her go back into these games, I think he understands that, you know, at the end of the day, Peter's trying to protect her as well, and I think he's one of her best chances at survival, and I think he does appreciate that in a way, as hard as it is for him to, you know, to watch all of this emotion unfold between them. But
yeah.
Yeah. You want to have a fight?
Yeah. Nah, I'm good.
Me too. I love you. I love you, man.
Okay.
I love you.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
We love each other.
This is mainly for Jennifer, Donald, Lenny, and especially Woody. Fewer than 25% of the people in America think this country is on the right track. Who do you admire enough to think they should become a symbol for revolutionary change?
Ryan Seacrest. That's all. Thank you.
Bill Maher.
Great. Good morning. Jennifer, for you and for any of the returning cast members, could you talk about the challenges of playing a character's arc over multiple films as opposed to one 2-hour movie?
A lot of character development happens.
Yes, lots.
Lots of character
Lots of
development.
character.
It's nice.
Yeah,
I think
it
you
is nice.
You have more time to show more, and you got multiple movies. You don't just have one 2-hour block to work within.
Yeah.
A lot of meaning.
And you get to play a character who's obviously the same character, but is changing and growing, and that's something that is nice.
It's nice. That's the answer.
It's so nice.
I'll pipe in on that too, just to say that one of the things that I think Suzanne tried very hard to do in her books, and that these actors have really been inspired by, is that we really asked ourselves, what would happen if these things really did happen to you? And even though it is a dystopic future, and even though it is a popcorn, movie that many people, based on a book that a lot of people love, we try to ask ourselves, really, how would you be affected by these events if they happen to you? Not if they happen to you in a book, not if they happen to you in a movie, but if they actually happen to you. And I think all of these actors, in each subsequent movie, you see the effects on them as human beings, the way that humans are affected by violence and by war.
This movie's got a lot of really intense scenes, and one of the most intense is the flogging scene that Liam Hemsworth goes through. And I was reading in Entertainment Weekly about how much joking and how much fun there was despite this serious subject.
Everyone was strangely happy to whip me. I was like, all right, man, you ready? Let's do it.
He's getting really hurt. I mean, getting whipped with something is okay maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
In your own words.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
He
is
likes
more
it at
than
first.
enough. Yeah. First, that's not that bad, and then after 3 days of doing it, it starts to
Yeah.
wear on you.
But that's every scene. I mean, we. Yeah. But that's how we.
That's after
fortunately, we
every
all
scene.
work that
It's
way.
good for,
We
for
keep
one
it
or
loose.
2 takes, and then you hate it
Helps. Yeah.
for the next 3
Yeah.
days.
Oh, and then Jennifer, you won your Academy Award. You're reuniting with David O. Russell for this December. Can you talk about that? And was there a Bring Your Oscar to Work day for this movie?
Absolutely. I brought it to work. I put it on Video Village, and I was like, things are going to be very different from now on. No, I didn't. We kind of, it was, I mean, I saw everybody the next day, and everybody was just kind of like, hey,
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah,
All
cool.
right.
And then I was like, nothing? Okay.
All right.
No, it actually made me a target. Somebody, Woody, every time I mess up my line, is like, oh, I better give that Oscar back. I actually wish that everybody in this cast didn't know about it. That'd make my life a lot easier. But yeah, getting back together with David is, a no-brainer. I adore him, and his script and character was amazing and unlike anything I had ever done. So, I did it instead of resting again.
And is it important to keep changing, since you're going to be so identified with Katniss, that you want to play women that are totally opposite this?
Yes and no. The reason that I signed on to Hunger Games, because I knew that was, we had already had Harry Potter and we already had Twilight, so we were obviously surprised by the success. How could we not be? But we did know what to expect to a certain extent. And if I was going to be identified for a character for the rest of my life, that's a hard thing to think about. But I love this character, and I'm proud of her, and I would be proud to be associated with this movie and this character for the rest of my life. That being said, I do think it is important. It has been important to get the little thing, and not even really for audiences. Obviously, some for audiences to see. I can also do this since these are so big and overwhelming, but. For me, I like going back and, I started doing indies, and I'll end in indies, and I enjoy doing it. It's kind of, sometimes when you find a really great character like Rosalind and David's movie, it's better than Vacation. It's like, I don't know, it's exciting.
Better than Vacation.
It is better than Vacation sometimes.
All right.
Yeah, as long as the catering's good, it's better than Vacation.
For the actors, some of you more than others get to sport some fabulous makeup, hair, and costumes. Do your characters, for you, start with what's on the page with the words or with the costumes? How does that influence your performance?
Definitely words. What?
Yeah.
I don't. Do you want me to keep talking?
A little bit, yeah. It's always fun.
Words. Oh, I thought more. Okay.
For Jennifer, could you talk a little bit about what was the toughest stunts to do? Was there a moment where you thought, I can't believe I'm doing this? And also, what did winning the Oscar what did it mean to you?
I think the hardest stunt to do, well, the spinning cornucopia was pretty hard. We had a real spinning cornucopia that was going about 30 miles per hour. And Jenna and I both had our, morning sickness, bracelets on, because it was hard to know. Yeah.
Or motion sickness?
Oh.
I mean, if there's something you want to tell me, maybe now is not the best place or the
God.
best platform for this.
That is going to be, my publicist is like, and that's what I'm going to be dealing with for the next 24 hours. Motion sickness.
There it is.
God. So that was hard, just to kind of try to keep your cookies down during that situation. And winning the Oscar, it's, something like that is a wonderful gift that I was so grateful for, and, I'm confused by slightly, but I'm okay with that. But it's a huge honor, and I'm still pinching myself, and I think that I still haven't really fully digested it. And I think maybe I shouldn't. It's it's a tremendous honor. Oh, sorry.
For Jennifer, Josh, Liam, Donald, you guys had a unique opportunity to play a role across multiple films. So I'm wondering, are you guys changing anything about your character as you learn more about it, strictly from a portrayal stance, now that you're learning more and getting more, hearing more from the director, producers, fans?
Yeah, I think it's cool because we're getting new and different input now. I mean, we have a new director leading us and everything, so that's a cool change for us. I think that for me, the places that PETA goes naturally just based on the story are so exciting for me, and I want to follow that. So as far as bringing a bunch of things of my own to it, there's definitely little parts of PETA that I bring for myself, but for the most part, I think it was all really in the original book and in the script and in the story for me.
I always feel like when I'm shooting something, I'll often with the character go in different directions because of either the director's influence or something we work out on set. When you have something like this, we have 3 different or 4 different films to do it over. It's definitely going to head in directions maybe you didn't think of or unexpected stuff. But it's part of a collaboration. Of people developing a character and. Your instincts might go in a different direction because of another actor's instincts. I've really got to go to the bathroom. So if I could excuse, I've just got to go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I knew it.
It's the best way to end any question.
Sometimes,
I have
and
to go to
you
the bathroom.
too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I knew. I saw that empty orange juice thing, and I was like, he's got to pee.
He's not even old.
The evidence.
Yeah, I have a question for Francis Lawrence. Great movie, thank you very much. But you had a much more elaborate Hunger Games to put on camera, and I was wondering when you were developing the script or reading the book, was there any one part in particular where you were going, oh God, this is going to be a nightmare? How am I going to bring this to life? Is there anything part of it that was more complicated?
No, that's kind of the fun for me. The sort of figuring out the puzzle of making a movie is really the fun part. So I knew very early on that the arena in this was a place that was going to have to be really figured out. It's a place that doesn't exist anywhere in the world, and so we were going to have to build part of it and shoot different parts in different locations, and we ended up building the island in the cornucopia in Atlanta, and unfortunately in 40-degree water, so the actors had to sort of jump in and out of that, and then we did the jungle in Hawaii. But I always take those kind of moments in filmmaking as a really fun challenge.
Hello. Oh, cool. My name is Kelsey. I'm from the Daily Bruin at UCLA. The movie is in large part about a very politically charged young generation, and I was just wondering what you guys hope a young politically charged generation of today would get out of your movie.
Oh, sorry, I was so busy looking at you, I didn't hear your question.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
She works for UCLA, and she wants to know a movie like this that's so. I got you. A movie like this that's so. She really listens better if
I'm so
the person
sorry.
next to her
I was looking
explains.
for you. I was like, where did she go? I hear
But
the
no, she wants to know
microphone.
this movie is like a very politically charged kind of thing, and like with our young politically charged generation, what do we hope that they take from it? Jennifer?
Oh God.
Or Jeffrey?
Yes, Jeffrey. Yeah, Donald.
or Donald, someone who's really eloquent in these matters.
I'll take that.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
I think what's fascinating about the movie is that what I've found in interacting with fans and talking to people about why they're so passionate about these movies is that it's kind of this universal spectrum that allows anyone to kind of insert themselves into the world and really express their own perspectives and their own politics within it. And really, like any good piece, it raises more questions than it answers. So, but at the same time, the politics for the young people in the movie are very simple. They're politics around home, family, security, love, and all of these very simple, universal themes that we all relate to. So, and that we can all understand. And so I guess, I don't know, for young people, yes, young people should be politically engaged, but they should be so, I think, from a very considered, principled, and grounded place, and not from a reactive place, not from a place that has to do with a fad or has to do with, with a knee-jerk reactive response to something, but something very grounded in principles that are meaningful and effective. And I think that's what the story. Hey, hey, hey.
No, they're
And
clapping
that's
because
why-
Liam's back.
Yeah, Leo's back. Leo's back.
I'm really sorry. I would
Liam.
never do that, but I just couldn't hold it. I'm sorry. I was starting to sweat and.
For Donald. Donald, you obviously have such a great understanding of this character, but how much sort of identification or sort of empathy do you have for this character, and how important is that in sort of bringing him to life?
I love him. He loves himself, and he loves his job. He's right. You know, he's ready to take away $15 billion worth of food stamps. He's a good guy.